faces an ongoing testing cycle? Are you guys prepared to deal with that? Even something as simple as W-2 and 1099 updates?
We are. Skyward monitors the state of Illinois on a regular basis. They have a direct link with any changes that are dealing with the state of Illinois. So they're usually they're right there when the changes are being made, whether it's the state level or if it's at the federal level or whatever, with changes that are taking place. We are not housing our information. It is being housed off-site through a company called iEscort. So they are monitoring and maintaining our data, and they will take care of any server upgrades, any software upgrades, and anything else that we need to have done.
Obviously backups and all that.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, bids.
We have two bids that we're going to present to the school board on Thursday for their consideration. The one is the paper bid award recommendation. Is everybody on that one? We do have a consortium for paper, the purchasing of paper. It's a consortium that the district has run for a number of years, and it includes, you see in the memo, it includes a number of our local, excuse me. Oh, here we are, here we are. Yeah, I've got the wrong thing, yes. So with the paper bid, it's an annual bid that the district conducts on behalf of the consortium. I did some calculations. We represent 77% of the consortium. So, the pricing this year is 3% less than last, which if based upon the estimated purchasing that we're going to do this year, that's 4,000 savings. Not that we're going to spend less than 4,000, because I don't know. I didn't really check the quantities last year. What was purchased, but you know what I'm trying to say. If we bought the same amount last year, we're going to do this year, we'd be 4% savings because of the reduction cost. That quantifies to about a $4,000 savings this year compared to last year's pricing. And then we didn't consider this in the awarding of the bid. As you see, the bids are very, very close. But the Midland was the only company to offer a 1% discount if they're paid within 30 days, which could save the consortium an additional $1,600 a year. And then we showed all the details associated with it, and as you can see, white paper is still in vogue, and that we predominantly use white paper, and certainly 98% of the purchasing that we do is white paper, and it shows the four vendors for this, and the pricing that we, I believe that I checked with some other districts what they're paying on copy paper, and I really believe the consortium is pretty powerful on this one, and we got a really good price because we have such a large consortium for the purchasing of paper. And we're just going to recommend awarding it to the lowest bidder, which is Midlands by just a couple $100 or so. Any questions on?
Have you used Midland in the past?
I don't know if exactly it was Midland or the broker of the paper. A lot of this is just brokering paper, from the mills and sending truckloads of paper this way. But we did work with the same broker, and the paper had some issues with jamming a few years ago. And we asked them about that. They said, well, we guarantee our paper. If we had problems, we could have sent it back and we would shipped it back to you. We did get a sampling of paper and he said this paper is dramatically better than the paper I think 2 or 3 years ago, we bought from the same lease broker, and that, he sent us a case, we ran it through our machines, and it had no problems. But he does guarantee the paper, and if the paper were to be defective of any part, he said, you know, obviously we can replace it. This paper bid, and then, waste removal and recycling bid. This New Way Disposal Service is I think, a local company, that has provided, this service to the district, for a number of years. This is something that, to my knowledge, we have not bid this out, very often. Under the director of Dr. Cheney, one of the reasons I was hired was to look at everything and see, you know, what do we need to improve on. This is an area where I felt, you know, we needed to bid out and see if it would achieve savings for the district, and it does. It reduces the cost down from approximately $150,000 annually. The New Way Disposal bid $66,000. So they lower their cost quite dramatically. And we asked them, why'd you lower the cost? And they said they thought Waste Management was gonna come in with really low prices and try to steal the account. And as you see, they didn't lower their prices to the account, so, because Waste Management was, you know, considerably greater than New Way Disposal Services. So I think this is, and we did a 3-year contract for it, but they average increasing their cost 4% a year over the next few years. So that's not very good, but at the same time, we certainly don't want to reject these bids and rebid because they increase the price 4% per year. So our recommendation is to certainly award a contractor to New Way Disposal Services, which has been our provider for years, and they provided a satisfactory service over the years.
And exclusive of fuel. Fuel prices go up, this is still the price.
Correct.
Good job.
And just note, because you're going to be monitoring our costs, and you see, we bid it out on service levels per container, you know, to each one. And we might be changing service levels because of the different enrollment configurations at our schools. And so we bid out, except for North, we changed the service level for North, but East, Central, and West are the exact same service levels that we currently have. And you know, we could adjust it up, we could adjust it down, and it's just a visual. Are the bins getting full too quickly? Do we need to be picked up more often? Do we need additional containers out there? So this is bid per, you know, the specifications, and we have unit pricing though that we would expect if we're adding another, container, a 6 cubic yard container at a school, that it's going to be these same prices.
So those prices are all guaranteed as well?
Yes. No, they may make an argument though, we didn't bid this out, they may make an argument though, especially a trash compactor. Trash compactor, they said, cost $13,000 to bring in a trash compactor. And that's one of the reasons why I think they were the competitiveness is, because they did not, you know, Waste Management had the bid, they had to bring in all new equipment, and we use trash compactors at our school, which is $13,000. So New Way had an advantage in the sense that their equipment's been paid for. It's there, they don't have to bring in new equipment. A new provider for just a 3-year contract would have to bring in some pretty expensive equipment. I don't know what the normal, just an empty container costs, not a trash compactor. So if we did provide services we may not be able to get that unit price. We depending on what we're asking for, we may have to pay for the container on top of the unit price for service.
Any further questions?
If we're done with those 2 bids, can we go back to a topic from last meeting and talk about Aunt Nancy's real quick? I understand, that we can't bid that because of the license thing. That's understandable. The one thing that I assumed at the last meeting, and walked out of here thinking, well, I don't really remember hearing that. Even though we can't bid it, bidding is really just giving the opportunity for that business, giving other providers the chance to provide that business to us. We're still charging rent though, right, in the current?
We have never charged rent, but we're still in discussions to see what they're willing to remit. For instance, this year they gave out $8,000 in student scholarships. So I'm in discussions with the owners now, rather, the possibility of remitting that payment back. They're not on a lease, and so, the agreement is to utilize the facilities, but that's something we're still in discussions.
Currently.
Currently.
But we're talking about next year, right? A new contract for next year, rent will be a part of that, correct?
A contract moving forward, right now, they have an agreement through the next school year. They've set their rates. I'm in discussions to see what they're willing to give us now. And then we will go to a competitive bid process for the 17-18 school year.
Okay, what is the penalty for breaking that contract?
There's no penalty. We could just tell them they're out, and if we do that, then we're gonna be in a tough spot with our teachers that have their children in those facilities.
Correct, but
Part of the
that's,
CBA,
that's not
their tough
commonly
law.
provided, benefit.
No, it's not.
I mean, there are other things I wanted to ask about. So they're a for-profit business, correct?
Correct.
Correct. They're operating in an exempt building. It is my understanding that we should be paying property tax on the square footage that they occupy.
According to our attorneys, we do not have a lease in place, and they are not tenants.
With an
They're
agreement.
utilizing our facility, but that's according to our attorney.
So
agreement
what does that do to
different.
liability? If they're not tenants, I mean, we're basically liable for anything that happens in that daycare.
They do have liability coverage, but you're correct. They have their limits. It's still on our property, just like when there's Park District utilizing our facilities, just like Girl Scouts utilizing our
You have a
facilities.
lease with them.
There's an incurred risk.
Okay. And just a couple of other comments. Our footprint is obviously shrinking. We're losing the school, putting more kids in the remaining 3 schools. At what point do we need that space? At what point can we not spare it? I don't, how much space do they have, I guess?
Yeah, they've got a couple classrooms in each building. They do have a couple classrooms in each building. And in terms of, the building usage at Central and West, we have a little bit more space in those 2 buildings, where at East, certainly, their use of, I believe that Sharon, is it 2 classrooms now at East?
Yes.
It's 2 classrooms at East.
What ages are the kids that are at that?
It'd be infants to preschool. There's no.
And they can do infants, they can do all those ages in only 2 classrooms? That seems kind of,
It's by the square footage.
It's split up,
They
yeah.
are.
And the 2 classrooms are split up inside the 2 classrooms.
okay. Yeah, my opinion on it, I hope you are giving consideration to the possibility that, maybe we shouldn't, be in the rental property business.
Mhm.
It might not be worth it to have that in the schools going forward. That's my opinion on the matter, but,
And I think, I've been working a lot on, the potential RFP and, the competitive bid process, and I think we would call it cost recovery, not rent. We would assume that we're gonna be reimbursed for costs.
Well,
Now, whether
I mean,
that's just
yeah.
semantics and it's truly rent as compared to cost recovery, but.
Yeah, I mean,
think-
we're
And
a
it's not
landlord.
done yet, we'll sure, but I think we're gonna call it, whether we should call it cost recovery or rent. or decide.
We're a landlord in that deal. If we're gonna have them in here, if they're going to charge people market rates to use the facility, I think we should be charging them market rent rates to rent the facility. And that does worry me too, though, because I'm still a little, sketchy on the property tax thing. I know, I'm at a non-for-profit, I realize it's different than a government. We have rental properties and we're paying property tax on all of them and passing it back. Obviously, hopefully the lawyer has looked into that more than I have. But still, it seems like a benefit that does not include everybody. It's for some. It's a benefit that most employers don't provide. And it just seems like maybe it shouldn't be our priority going forward.
So there's no contract in place?
There's an agreement. It was
Which is
not
nice.
approved by the board. And so, within April of 2013, it was extended 10 years. There's a 90-day out for either party.
I just think it's troubling that, again, we're getting around the issue of having to pay property taxes using this tax exempt space by not having any sort of formalized agreement.
And even in that case, according to our attorneys, it would be much different if it were an unoccupied building, as opposed to the building that we are currently utilizing for educational purposes. But I'd have to have, our attorney here to elaborate on that. I just know what I've received in terms of correspondence.
How many kids are in that? I mean, how many teachers have kids in there? How many kids are,
I don't
just
know.
ballpark?
I think next year they're estimating 150.
From all three schools.
All three schools.
Say, right, typically 40 to 50 per building has been where they the numbers.
At a minimum, shouldn't this come back to the board since it hasn't been approved or even looked at by the board?
I think the board could. They were under advisement when it first started years and, I guess 18 years ago, but the board never did have official action. But this could be something that we put on an agenda for official board approval.
I think that makes sense to me.
We can do that.
Is it just children, teachers' children that attend during the school year? I know in the summer it's different.
And no, in the past, there's a priority where teachers' children and then feeder school parents and on down the line. Now, next year, I think is primarily Lincoln Way teachers' children because of fewer spots. And so there'll be reduced opportunities for those outside of Lincoln Way.
This year, 15% of students were not either a teacher, a child of a teacher in elementary feeder districts or the high school. So, and then they said for next year, it looks like there won't be spots for the residents who aren't teachers of the district or feeder schools.
Scott, do we know what other schools, I know Oak Lawn has offered this, what's per square footage they charge? And compared like what if we use that as a just a baseline,
Yeah.
what kind of money
And
do we get?
Steve had looked at some of that, so Steve, you can speak.
Yeah,
to that.
we'll discuss this when we do the specifications, RFP, and I think this may come before this committee as far as how we're structuring the RFP. But I was thinking that maybe the competitive process would dictate how much revenue is received, in the sense that what are you offering in the form of cost recovery? That that there was cost associated with building these classrooms and depreciation on the buildings and utility costs and cleaning. So if we say there's utility, we're not going to. It's hard. I don't know, it's hard to say that particular section is using so much utility, but we'll say through the process, here are the parameters. What will you provide in cost recovery? And have them offer us what their offer is for cost recovery, and then the board decides is that a fair offer?
To me, it feels more
is that the best offer that we're going to get for cost recovery?
I think it feels more like straight rental. So if Nancy's had to move across the street from East and rent a building, rent offices there where my kid's orthodontist is, what would they be paying for that market rate? As far as bringing it back to the board, are we talking about bringing it back to the board for the 17 year, for the coming year? Or are we talking about just the proposal going forward for 18?
We can discuss for the next year, in terms of plans being made and in place for childcare, that'd be a difficult argument for teachers. Certainly some would just decide, you know what, I'll stay home for a year, that's fine. You know, we can find teachers at this point in the ballgame, but a number of teachers come back to work because of the ability to have their child here. We're not paying for them to stay home, we're not paying for a sub, so that is part of the cost recovery of this system.
Okay. So it will go to the board for 17 though, it will be board discussion.
Certainly for next school year, absolutely, for the 17, 18 school year.
16, 17.
The 16, 17, we can discuss it and the board can decide, but a number, like, those people have paid their deposits and they're planning on having their children there in the fall. But if the board wants to take action.
Do you believe if you charge Aunt Nancy's rent, they're gonna leave?
Thank you.
Never gonna happen.
I mean,
They're not gonna leave. They're already losing 25% of their business by North closing. They're not gonna leave.
Any other questions?
That is a point.
No, I know, and I've discussed I've been in discussions with Nancy about, you know, their scholarship donations and remittance and revenue. Steve has also had discussions with them in terms of paying back for utilization.
So I'm still a little bit confused, I
Yep.
apologize. 16, 17 is kind of a done deal.
It is, but we're still talking about remittance of money.
But will the amount, like, if it was truly an RFP with this kind of detail, we would know what's being charged per student and everything else associated with it. Will that become
That's our.
public in 16, 17?
Absolutely, that's our plan
Okay.
moving forward, is to put together a detailed bid.
Right.
The timing didn't allow us.
I
because of
understand
the
that part of it, I think Chris and Dr. Casey, I think that's kind of what we're saying, is this needs to be brought up and shown in the public light rather than squirreled away. You know, we know it's out now, so
Yep.
just tell everybody what it is.
Absolutely.
And then when Steve puts together the bid, if the board chooses to provide that service on an ongoing basis, then it truly will be in the public light. And Aunt Nancy may have some public reputation to deal with, God bless them, but, so be it.
And I mean, we're not trying to punish anybody, but there is a just equity, fairness aspect to this. They've gotten
Taking
market
I-
rates.
I
And the whole transparency
understand.
thing, I mean, it's just time to put it out there.